Hello everyone, welcome to BB68, and in today's episode we received a new record of votes. We received 471. Thank you to the viewers for casting your vote 471 times. We have managed to break a record. We were almost closing in on 500 votes, but it wasn't to be this episode. Group 3 was up for elimination, and the person winning the double immunity was Extraordinary Nora and the Elf on the Shelf, with 121 votes. With them being a 2024 debut, that doesn't surprise me. They win the double immunity token, and in second place with 109 votes was Dino and Baby Dino. Their prize for coming second is the single immunity token. After this, it was Beagle Scout Snoopy, Toy Soldier, Ronald McDonald, Santa Claus, Tiamat the Dragon, Rugrats, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Turkey, SpongeBob SquarePants, and Dachshund, who were all safe. It was between Snoopy and Woodstock, Betty Boop, Millennium Snoopy, and Kermit the Frog to be eliminated. However, Kermit the Frog received 8 votes, while the other 3 received 9. Meaning that Kermit misses out on the chance to stay in with the tiebreaker and is eliminated from Balloon Battle. Kermit the Frog is the most famous character in the Muppets franchise, created by Jim Henson. Kermit's involvement with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade began in 1977, when new parade executive Jean McFadden made the television host her first choice for a new balloon. The Kermit the Frog balloon was one of 4 balloons constructed during the entire decade of the 1970s and was the second to last balloon to ever be manufactured by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, their final balloon being the 3rd Superman, which we will get to in a different episode. The balloon was designed by Woody Woodward and was constructed of 72 pattern pieces and 14 compartments, with a wax model of the balloon's design being used for the first time to keep the finished product on model. By fall of that year, the balloon's construction was completed and the finished product, measured in at 63 feet high, 63 feet long, 24 feet wide, and required 5,220 cubic feet of helium needed to get it off the ground. With this much helium, the balloon weighed 200 pounds and required 25 handlers to guide the balloon down Broadway. The balloon was sponsored by Henson Associates. After the finished product was completed, the balloon was test flown in Rockmart, Georgia, and during its test flight, the real Kermit visited the location to report and interview guests on television. The test flight proved successful, and the balloon flew in the 1977 parade. The flight was successful despite its left arm being bent. The balloon flew alongside the Sesame Street float for the first time this year, a position it often kept while the float was still in the parade. Just before the balloon's second flight in 1978, Kermit appeared alongside fellow Muppet Fozzie Bear to host Hip Hip Parade, a half-hour PBS special that gave a rare behind-the-scenes look at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Kermit had another successful flight in 1978 with his left arm bent again, but nowhere near as crooked as the previous year.
Hello, Kermit.
Ribbit, ribbit.
Kermit also we saw sleeping on 77th Street.
Yes.
And frogs get to be this big, watch out. King of the Frogs, Kermit.
He is the only frog. Kermit is a he, right?
Yes.
He's the only frog ever to host 2 TV shows, Sesame Street and The Muppets.
Kermit is 6 stories tall.
Oh, I
Look
love
at
his
this.
mouth. Look
See,
at
this is
Kermit's
what's
mouth.
spectacular about the Macy's Day Parade, Ronnie. It is the balloons, which I
That's
never
right.
realized. It's what differentiates Macy's Day Parade from every other in the country. These
Boy, is he
incredible
green.
balloons. Hello,
What a
Kermit.
green guy. Hello,
The
Kermit.
crowd is so happy.
Okay, kids.
In May of 1979, the Kermit the Frog balloon was shipped to England to take part in the Children's Greatest Party, with Queen Elizabeth in attendance. The party was to celebrate the International Year of the Child, and Kermit the Frog became the first ever Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade balloon to appear outside of the United States. The larger-than-life frog waved to kids from an anchored perch stationed in the centre of the party. This would be brought up several times on the NBC coverage, mainly in 1982, 1986 and 1990. Kermit appeared in 1979 with a slight bend to his left arm, but nowhere near as dramatic as the previous 2 years. 1980 rolled around and Kermit appeared again, and for the first time he didn't have any bends on any of his limbs, meaning this was the first time the Kermit balloon made it to Herald Square in its true intended form.
Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street live out for a ride. You saw them earlier on the Today Show. Now, there are all kinds of different celebrities who appear on television films, but only a handful of what could be called superstars. And interesting enough, almost none of them are green. Maybe that's because they're not frogs. So when you got a frog that's a superstar, you got something really special. And we got them for you right now, all 6 stories of them. Welcome, Kermit, the most famous frog ever to leap in the limelight. Maybe because it was such a good color for him. Well, 1980 marks his 24th year in show business, making him the oldest Muppet character still on active duty. Hardly looks out of his teens this morning. Happy Thanksgiving, Kermit. What a marvelous balloon, furnished by Henson Associates.
In 1981, however, the balloon's left leg and left arm were both bent. And with his left leg being bent, it made the balloon look like it was standing tall on Broadway, rather than floating horizontally. 1982 rolled around, and Kermit the Frog was the first balloon that year to reach Herald Square, despite being the second balloon in the lineup. This was due to Bullwinkle having his major accident this year. Kermit the Frog unfortunately had a bend to his left arm once again this year. After the 1982 parade, the Sesame Street float was retired.
High school Trojan marching band, Newcastle, Indiana. You know, that's a mouthful. Probably won't be able to say that about 5 o'clock this evening. Anyway, coming up right behind, look at there. First of all, before I get to Kermit, there's a whole car full of fun just in front. Part of the beloved World of the Muppets, created by one of the world's great magicians, Jim Henson. You Muppet spotters at home should be able to identify Waldorf in there, as well as Statler, the great Gonzo. There's Beauregard, Sweetums, some rats. Where's Bradley? My little 3-year-old can help me out. He can identify everybody in there. And speaking of Jim Henson, I ask you now, where would the most famous frog in the world be on Thanksgiving if not in this parade? Let me give you some statistics on a gentleman who really needs no introduction. He is, of course, Kermit the Frog. He was the first balloon ever allowed outside of the United States. Did you know that? He helped celebrate the Year of the Child in England, and he's a big one. This is his 6th year in the parade. He is 6 stories tall, 24 feet wide. How many feet of helium does it take to fill him? 5,220 cubic feet. And floating high above Broadway on this day, we're proud to have Kermit, the most famous frog, going. Kermit furnished this morning by Henson Associates. Good seeing you, big green guy. We'll come back. Lots more to come on this holiday, and we're glad you could be with us.
Paul Williams sings To a Giant Olive Oil. Andy Gibb performs with the cast from Broadway's Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So, don't miss a minute.
He reappeared in 1983, and his left arm and left leg were both bent once again. 1984 rolled around, and at the start of the route, his left arm was bent, but the bend was straightened out and fixed in time for his appearance on the NBC telecast.
Sonia Manzano, Loretta Long, Elena Reed, and of course, Big Bird. Our next balloon this morning is furnished by Henson Associates, and I don't think anyone who is watching does not know Kermit the Frog, the popular host of TV's Muppet Show. So 6 stories tall this morning.
1984 was the final year of the Kermit the Frog balloon with the original collar that was attached by Goodyear. In 1985, a new collar was constructed and attached to the balloon's neck after the original collar had worn out. 1985 was the year that the balloon received its first major accident. When turning the corner from 77th Street to Central Park West, the trees had torn the balloon's stomach several times. It wasn't until the balloon reached Columbus Circle where the loss of helium sent the balloon crashing into the ground. Although Jean McFadden considered removing the waterlogged frog from the parade, she and the balloon's handlers decided to keep him in the parade. By the time the frog arrived in Herald Square, he was only about a yard off the ground. Host Pat Sajak commented he looked as if he'd passed out. The succeeding host, Willard Scott, would comment on 2 broadcasts about this year's Kermit appearance. In 1990, he would simply say, "It was not always easy being green." And in 1991, he would say it was almost as if the balloon was swimming down Broadway.
Well, you know, we talked earlier about what a difficult day this can be for all the people responsible for the big balloons and the handlers and getting them down the streets, you know, when you have the rain and the wind and all that. And amazingly, most of them have done very well. Kermit, however, not quite as fortunate. Kermit riding a little low to the ground today, but that's all right. It's good to see him anyway, and the crowd loves him no matter what his elevation is. It's furnished by Henson Associates, a legendary frog. You know, they really have had some problems with the weather in past years. Going way back to 1956, just about all the balloons had to bite the dust. I believe only Mighty Mouse that year was able to make it. And even he was slightly wounded by winds of up to 45 miles per hour. Kermit, we love you anyway. Looks as if he's passed out, actually.
Kermit the Frog balloon reappeared in the 1986 parade, only with a bent left wrist. This flight was more successful than the previous year. No major accidents, no torn stomachs, but a crooked wrist. The Kermit the Frog balloon reappeared in 1987. This year, the balloon's sponsor had changed to Jim Henson Productions, and the balloon's left arm was punctured by trees shortly after step-off. Alongside the balloon's appearance on the NBC telecast, the Kermit the Frog puppet also appeared, alongside Muppet creator Jim Henson, who had been performing Kermit for 32 years at this point. As the balloon flew by, Parade host Willard Scott presented the duo with the Rollie Award for their contributions to the parade.
You know, Kermit the Frog finally got away from Miss Piggy just long enough to leap down our parade route. Actually, this green fellow, furnished by Jim Henson Productions, some young upstart production company I've never heard of. I'd learn how to pronounce it. They're now making the 11th Thanksgiving appearance, probably giving thanks for being a frog this year, not a turkey. Anyway, this is all home week. Jimmy, what a thrill.
Oh, it's very nice to be back with you again. After 30 years ago, when did we start together?
I said one of the great moments of my career when I believe the first time Kermit and I ever appeared together was on Barn Party on Channel 4 many years ago.
That's right. That's right.
I understand. Kermit, you look younger every day. Jimmy, you... Anyway, Ed Finkelstein, chairman of Macy's, has a special award for Kermit and his years of service to this parade in the country.
Well, thanks, Willard. And just as Hollywood has the Oscar, we have the Rollie Award. And Jim, I'm proud to present this one to you and Kermit, and thank you for 11 years of great parades with us.
All right, can I thank you? Yes, thank you. Listen, it's to be immortalized in a large balloon about 75 feet tall and filled with gas is one of the great thrills of my life. And I wish everybody out there could have this same exciting thrill, and it'd be a wonderful parade if they did. And Willard would make a great balloon too, right?
I'm ready, Jimmy, and thank you, Ed. That's our Rollie Award, and thank you so much. It's the best in the business. While we don't have your balloon ready for you, we're all set for a bigger than life, hopefully someday.
We don't have your balloon ready, and you're already bigger than life, and your enthusiasm for the parade. For 7 years, you've done a great job, rain or shine, in reporting to millions watching at home, and which is why we have this surprise Rollie Award for you, too.
Thank you. That's terrific. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the institution. And being with you guys really makes me proud. And Kermit, let's do lunch.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. I think they shut us up. That's terrific. Thanks. What a treat.
Watch you in the morning.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Will.
Good.
Following the 1987 parade, the original Kermit the Frog balloon was retired after making 11 consecutive appearances. 3 years later, the balloon was brought back by Jim Henson Productions and Macy's to pay tribute to Jim Henson, who had sadly passed away in May of 1990. Accompanying the balloon was a Rolls-Royce with costumed versions of Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy. Willard Scott, the current parade host at the time, had worked alongside Henson at WRC-TV in 1955. He presented a tribute montage showcasing Henson's contributions to the parade. This tribute montage is one of, if not the most somber, heartwarming and touching moments in Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade television history.
Hey, thank you so much, Patty. Being escorted down the line and into the sunset in true Western style by 15 riders from the American Quarter Horse Association. And look who's here. Here she is, that shameless pig. I mean, batting those eyelashes at the frog of her choice. Furnished by Jim Henson Productions, it's Miss Piggy and the beloved Kermit, that frog that we all love, riding on our rolls. And watching the parade with us today are members of the Henson family. Beautiful Jane, we love you so much. What a dear, dear friend. And today's Macy's parade pays tribute to Jim Henson, whose magical creations have been a very special part of this parade now for 15 years, especially in the form of that beautiful, beautiful voice and that beautiful style of that magnificent frog.
No, I don't think that success has particularly spoiled the frog.
Oh, Kermit!
Oh, yes, Miss Piggy.
Oh, I am so excited that you have been elevated to balloondom.
Oh, thank you. That's very aptly put.
Kermit, 6 stories tall and filled with 5,220 cubic feet of helium, has flown high, he's flown low. You know, it isn't always easy being green. He's flown in with his friends from Sesame Street. Big Bird, Bert and Ernie, Oscar the Grouch, characters who've become the heritage of a generation. He's appeared in parades with Doozers and Hoosers, other wonderful Henson creations from Fraggle Rock. Kermit was the first Macy's balloon ever allowed outside the United States. In 1979, he journeyed to England to help celebrate the International Year of the Child. A first for a frog, I'm sure. In 1988, Jim Henson and Kermit were recipients of the Roley Award for their years of service to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And Kermit made a very eloquent acceptance speech.
Can I thank you? Yes, thank you. Listen, it's to be immortalized in a large balloon about 75 feet tall and filled with gas is one of the great thrills of my life. And I wish everybody out there could have this same exciting thrill, and it'd be a wonderful parade if they did.
Kermit takes a sentimental journey down Broadway today.
It's a shame that the balloon's appearance was cut off by a commercial break, but the tribute to Henson, the balloon, the various floats and everything that had appeared in the parade was a truly special moment and definitely the highlight of the 1990 parade telecast. The balloon was brought back again in 1991 to celebrate the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade's 65th anniversary. However, this year, the Kermit the Frog balloon would be involved in its second major accident. Before the accident, the balloon's left arm and right foot were already deflated, but by the time it reached Times Square, the balloon collided head first into a lamppost, resulting in its head being punctured and left hanging for the rest of the parade. The balloon managed to make it to the end of the route, however, and appeared on the NBC telecast, with Willard Scott commenting that today he was just a little bit sad.
Well, that's my old friend here. This fella and I go way back, and he'll always be my favorite frog in the whole world. Furnished by Jim Henson Productions, my friend Kermit the Frog was the creation and the alter ego of that wonderful man, the late Jim Henson. You know, Kermit first flew in the parade 15 years ago, but it isn't always easy being green. One rainy Thanksgiving day, he was so low to the ground, it looked like that he was almost swimming down Broadway. But being a frog character, he made it all the way, because frogs are that kind of folks. And today, Kermit is just a little bit sad.
He's flying a little bit low, Willard, but he is flying.
The balloon was repaired in all of its punctured areas, but despite this, it was permanently retired from the lineup and was only ever seen used again once at the Macy's New York Christmas event in Disney MGM Studios, along with the Goofy, Betty Boop and Snuggle Bear balloons.
A Macy's New York Christmas. It's as much a holiday tradition as turkey, mistletoe, and presents under the tree. Every year, the New York holiday season kicks off with the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and its giant helium-filled balloons towering high above 34th Street. Now, after over 65 years in New York, all that holiday magic has flown south for the winter to the New York street on the back lot right here at the Disney MGM Studios. This year, for the first time ever, Macy's New York sent 21 of their fabulous parade balloons to recreate Christmas in New York here in Central Florida. Overnight, almost like magic, the back lot was transformed into a Christmas wonderland. Greats are here for you to see. Say hello to Snuggles the Bear. Here's the queen of the Macy's Parade, Betty Boop. The world's most lovable frog, Kermit. And there's Humpty Dumpty. Hang on there, Humpty. There's the All-American Deluxe Double Dip. At the center of all the Christmas excitement is our very own Santa Goofy. At 68 feet tall, Goofy made his debut this year at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Balloons, though, are just the start of this Christmas story. Check out the latest feature. Hear carolers on the street corner. The entire New York street comes alive with all the magic and excitement of a Macy's New York Christmas. And it's all right here, this holiday season, only at the Disney MGM studios.
So overall, the Kermit the Frog balloon made 13 appearances and was sponsored by Henson Associates from 1977 to 86 and Jim Henson Productions in 1987, 1990 and 1991. The original Kermit the Frog balloon, alongside the Pink Panther and Spider-Man, are the only giant balloons known to have been ripped at the stomach due to an accident. The Kermit the Frog balloon left a lasting impact in modern pop culture, especially the 1991 parade appearance. In September 2018, artist Alex Dacote created a replica of the original Kermit balloon with a deflated head, mimicking the incident that occurred during the 1991 parade. In addition, he also made replicas of the balloon's handlers' costumes, which were worn during the balloon's 1991 appearance. It's a shame that the balloon's legacy ended with an accident, but it's definitely a parade classic, and it is a shame that it has been voted off of this competition. I'm gonna say this though, when I begun hosting this show back in April last year, I would have never expected Kermit the Frog to be eliminated before many of the balloons that are still in. It's genuinely one of my favourites. It's sad to see you go, Kermit, but you are going to be a welcome addition to the warehouse. Goodbye! Well, it's time to spin the group wheel to see which group is going to be up for elimination next time. The group that is going to be up for elimination is Group 8. Viewers, vote using the Google form in the description of who you want to save. You can vote as many times as you like. Vote for as many characters as you please. The top 2 with the most votes will win immunity tokens, and the person with the least votes will be eliminated. See you all in the next episode.